from South Florida, and you can catch their act coming up.
Stars coming right up on Eyewitness News.
We're in tension in the bowl.
Is there any indication, I know we're talking about burglaries and thefts there, is there any indication that the sale of beer in the Orange Bowl has made any
most
difference?
definitely so. The police, you know, probably won't say so on record, but off the record, they're not too happy with Joe Robbie and his stance on beer, and it just causes more problems.
Okay, Larry. Thank you. Michelle?
A new South Florida rock band is about to get a big break. As Eyewitness News Broward Bureau reporter Jerry Cohen explains, the group has a great gimmick they say is bound to sell.
Shocks of red hair fling up and down, identical bodies bound and sway in a mirror image. Pam and Paula Mattiioli are the singers for a South Florida rock band called Gypsy Queen. They're 1 minute apart in age, but miles ahead in sound. The red-headed rockers live in North Miami, and they've just signed an agreement with a big-name producer for a record deal. The twins have regional pride, and they say they won't forget their roots as they make their climb to the top of the charts.
Miami's been waiting to happen for a long time musically. It's happening movie-wise now. And musically, it has potential. There's a lot of good acts here and a lot of good bands. And why not? We have the facilities to do it.
Last April, Playboy magazine offered the 25-year-old twins the opportunity to be centerfold playmates. But due to the provocative nature of the spread, the girls opted instead to be in this January's issue, featured along with other women rockers. The cover story is called The Girls of Rock and Roll. It says you won't see this on MTV. You won't see it on Channel 10 either.
The girls say they don't regret passing up the chance to be Playboy's center of attention.
You want to be respected as a songwriter and a musician and a singer, and that might be taken a little bit too far. Yeah.
The twins say they'll take their music as far as they can, though. Identical twins with but one destiny between them, a dream of the big time, and apparently the talent to make it happen. In Hallandale, Jerry Cohen, Channel 10, Eyewitness News.
Rock and roll will never die.
It certainly won't.
That wraps up this edition of Eyewitness News. Thanks for joining.
Joe, and welcome to our new studio. And a lot has happened to us, and certainly a lot has happened with the two of you since you were last with us. Some things don't change. Thankfully, I think what we need to do is we need to talk a little bit about the band, Gypsy Queen. And without the players, maybe it wouldn't all be possible. So let me turn to you, Paula. And let's talk about the formation of Gypsy Queen. I think we can go back about 3 years ago, can't we?
Well, no, actually, about 5 years ago.
Almost.
Oh,
yeah.
Almost 5.
Not with the same setup we have now, but the basic nucleus has been together 5 years. My sister and I, and our lead guitarist Pedro, and Augie, our sound engineer and co-manager. And
that helps to year after year, the same people.
Yeah, we're family.
Yeah, that's nice. So you're going to be playing, let's see, this is mid-December. What happens over the holidays, Pam?
Well, this next week we're going to be playing at Summers on the beach in Fort Lauderdale. And the next week after that, New Year's week, we're going to be playing at the Button South in Hallandale. And that's our plans.
Good. And that'll take you to the holidays.
Yes.
Well, what have you been doing? Let me... Whoa, Playboy. And in here on page 100 in the upper left, there it is. There they are. Now, they are in an article in the January issue of Playboy, The Girls of Rock and Roll. I wish they had said women, to be honest with you. What do you think?
Well, yeah. Rock and roll, you're sort of, there's no age. Yeah.
Okay. The girls
everyone's young and rock and roll.
And you won't see this on MTV, and you won't see it on the show either. But, Playboy.
Maybe Better Homes and Gardens.
How did it happen? Were you contacted by Playboy magazine? Paula?
It's a really interesting story. Our manager had sent a press package out to Playboy, hoping they'd come and see us while we're in LA, and hoping they'd review us in the music section of the magazine. Well, they ended up liking our pictures, and they wanted us to test for the centerfold, and we flew out to LA, and we tested, and they offered us the centerfold, and we said no to the centerfold.
Why?
Not because it was anything bad, but just because we felt as being rock singers, it wasn't in our best interest to do the centerfold. So we did instead the women in rock, or the girls in rock.
Now, out of the women, the girls in rock, there were 3 women, or actually 4.
Yeah. They count us as one.
Yeah, they count you as one that they picked to promote. Now, let's talk about some of the activities. Pam, over the past week, you've been signing autographs, and has it been fun?
Yes, it is.
Do you feel like a star, a celebrity?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
Do you have all these dirty old men coming up and oogling all over you?
That's always been a problem. When
No, I'm talking about last week.
Yeah, when they stop looking, that's when you worry. Yeah, yeah. I like the dirty young men.
Is it true that the Outlaws offered to buy you for $4,000?
Oh, something like that. It was so long ago. It was
That
when we
was
were
in
little
where,
teenagers.
Tampa?
Daytona. It was
In Daytona,
Yes.
yeah. That's a good story.
That's a hell of a story.
Now let's talk a moment about the two of you. I know at one point you tried to be different, didn't you?
Yeah,
You tried to separate your identities.
Yeah, very much. When you're a teenager,
Have you heard all this before?
when you're a teenager and you're going through that identity crisis, you know, who am I and why am I here? When you're a twin, that amplifies it. That makes the problem much.
So what were
serious.
the two attitudes and also the looks?
No makeup, you know, Miss Natural, just ivory.
That was you, Paula.
Yeah.
What about you, Pam?
I was wild, more wild.
Yeah, you were more wild.
My hair was even more crazy than this, you know. I was in a jazz shop and all that stuff.
And then when did you decide to sort of become one again?
Well, let's face it, you know, when a woman's fixed up, a man...
When the money was right.
a man tends to look at a woman, you know, when she has
Twice?
makeup on, you know, when she really takes care of her appearance, you know, and looks pretty and fashionable, you know.
Well, it crossed my mind that you could possibly be a fantasy for some people, and I'm sorry I even mentioned that, but let's go to Kentucky. What happened in Kentucky?
We got stranded. I had an old boyfriend call me because he saw the picture in Playboy, and he called me and he was.
Did he recognize you?
Yeah, and he called and he hadn't been able to find me. He'd been looking for me, and he got a hold of me.
That's touching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened?
And then I think he's coming down after Christmas to see me. And,
oh, he is.
I kind of maybe meet him and look at him through closed doors or something, you know.
That's exciting. Write a song about it.
Yeah.
You write music.
She is autobiographical anyway.
Somebody said about the two of you as a group, they said not only are these two women great at doing other people's works, but they're better at doing their own.
Oh.
And I thought that is the highest compliment, because
Yes.
part of emerging and being unique is you have to be creative and do your own things.
Yes,
now,
you do.
in your presentations, for those that have not seen Gypsy Queen in action around South Florida, speaking of around South Florida, one step which both of you have experienced, backup work for Molly Hatchet, Greg Allman, that's been a big step for you too. But where are you now with original tunes and doing the best of other people, such as Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you now? How much on each side?
Well, right now we just have to really concentrate on our own stuff. That's what we're doing. Just, you know, because Jack continually wants us to keep pushing on our own original stuff, and that's what we're basically going to be concentrating on.
So you're doing that now. Let's talk about a producer, a record producer.
Yes, she just mentioned his name.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. That's I had it written on my wrist here, record producer. Paula, who is this man?
Oh, this wonderful man, Jack Douglas. He came into our life about a month ago. And
You make everything sound so romantic. That's
you have to keep that thrill in life. You really
I
do,
see.
that excitement. He came into our life a month ago, and we were playing at the Button South, and someone who knew Jack had seen us there, and he sent up our tape to him, our latest original tape, which is ironically done at home, and it wasn't a fancy schmancy production.
Okay. And here it is. Oh no, we don't have the tape. I'm sorry, I forgot. No, go ahead. And then.
Okay, and. The next thing we knew, we were up to New York, and we were talking to him, discussing contracts. Then he came down a week later and saw us, and then we signed the contracts a week ago.
Now he's worked with some luminaries.
Oh, you name it. John Lennon. You know, as a matter of fact, he started off as an engineer, and he engineered the Sgt. Pepper album, the Beatles Sgt. Pepper album. And he's worked with John Lennon,
Aerosmith, right.
Cheap Trick, Zebra, The Knack, Cooper. You know, just a lot of people.
Well,
and we're so happy.
So what's the next step? You have to send me
The
more
next step is
material.
we're working on originals. It's going to be a while before we, you know, get going on the production here, but we have to work on some originals and tighten them up. And he's working on Cheap Trick right now, so it'll probably be February, March when we get started producing our album.
Okay, Pam, I wanted to turn to you. Somebody said your voices, they're harmonizing and they're contrasting, and plus they said you are both incredible actresses. They said that your facial expressions range from comedy through to tragedy and all the nuances between. Are you familiar with that review of your work?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, what I'm alluding to is when you're on stage, how do you approach your audience? What is it showtime, or is it artistic time, or what is it for Pam? Let me tell you, you're talking too much,
Yeah,
Paula.
she
Go
is.
ahead,
Yeah,
go ahead, go ahead, Pam.
I don't know, I guess that's a secret innate desire, I guess. To be actresses, really.
It is?
Yeah.
You like to go from rock and roll into
Yeah.
both it?
Yeah.
It's the same world, really. Rock and roll is, an attitude. And
But all these mannerisms are natural and they just happen, or are they contrived? Do you plan to do this?
not contrived, really.
I don't like it, that word contrived.
I can tell contrivedness when I see it. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why Miami? Let's go back and talk a moment about Billboard magazine, because you had left Florida, had gone to Kentucky, and then you came to
Then we went to
Miami.
Buffalo.
Oh,
And
you
then
did? You went
yeah.
back to Buffalo?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it still open?
Buffalo.
We did get snowed in
It did. It does close for the winter. That's why I wanted to check. But then why Miami? Wasn't it true Billboard said something?
Yeah,
that brought
Billboard
you
had
down
this
here?
big promo thing, and Pam and I said, all right, New York is cold, California's got so much competition, let's be the first, and the big fish in the sea. And we headed down to Miami, and we did some studio work when TK still existed, and we got a production deal at Criteria, and a lot of stuff happened for us, but it wasn't viable enough for us to support ourselves. So we had to get a group together, and which is a great thing. And it's taken a long time to get from the point we were to where we are now. But Miami can happen. It has the studios, it has the facilities. It just really hasn't quite gotten off the ground yet. And we hope to be pioneers.
Well, I think an obvious question for both of you, what are you looking for? Now, your success, if you measure your success, if you stop and say, let's be retrospective, and what have we done to this point tonight? Playboy magazine, they're promoting you, your work, your backup work, your group, the record producer. How do you feel at this point? And then what do you really want in the future? Do you want to be two Janis Joplins? Do you want to be totally movie-oriented? Or do you look that far ahead? Do you try to ponder your future? Pam?
Yeah, I ponder it to an extent. I look at those things, and I also look at where we're at today. And I just, the basic thing I have to think about is just, be happy and do what makes us happy, and always keep reaching towards a goal.
Do you
'Cause if
want
we
to
don't-
get out of the clubs
Oh,
soon?
yeah. But I know even if I did leave the clubs, part of me would miss it a lot.
Paula?
The whole idea is what she was saying, you just have to, you achieve one goal, and Pam and I were children, our goal was to be singers, and we've achieved that, and you keep setting
Against
higher
all
goals.
odds.
Yeah, your parents, or your parent.
Yeah.
You-
We have many parents.
Yeah, they weren't really excited about your rock and roll.
Or not supportive.
No, they
No.
weren't supportive, and now they're happy about it. But they, no one in our family's ever been musical before, so they thought, well, why you? But now they like it.
Were you formally trained either?
No.
In
No.
voice?
No,
Will you? Should you do that someday?
maybe.
We took a couple lessons from a woman just to get our breathing together because we were having a rough time with our breath.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you
we
see
took
the
some-
doctor? Or what?
No, we took some diaphragmatic breathing. So
It's important to do that.
But nobody can teach you how
Could
to
you tell
sing.
the difference?
Yeah, yeah.
With the way that you
I
use
breathe
the
differently,
diaphragm?
You
totally.
just have to support it, your voice. You have to hold it.
Your stomach, you
Yeah,
protrude your
I've got
stomach.
a very, very hard, tough diaphragm here.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the better the stronger you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's experience.
It's like weightlifting.
Diaphragmatic. You lift weights too? How do you
Yeah.
keep in shape?
I think for being on stage, it's like
Yeah.
aerobics.
Yeah.
And we get into these kicks once in a while where we'll lift weights for about
A week.
2 days. A week.
About a half hour. Well, have I missed anything? I don't. What do you think? You have a minute. Do what you want with it.
Okay, I just would like to encourage other musicians out there and other singers to let's make Miami happen. Let's go for it. Let's do it, because Miami's had such bad press and publicity, and I think a lot of that's fading now, and it's time to look at the positive side of Miami.
Probably going to have to move.
No, oh no, we're going to do our
I'm sure we'll have to go to LA or New York, but we're going to try to keep a place in Miami.
yeah, but we're going to be doing the basic tracks here.
Keep a chalet here and sort of.
Yeah, chalet.
Up in the hills, right?
Yeah, up in the hills.
Jack, our producer, he wants us to be from Miami. He wants us to be a Miami group. He doesn't want us to be from LA or New York. He likes the idea of us being from Miami.
Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
So that's the whole idea.
What you have achieved beyond your expectations at this point, or just as
No,
you
it's just
expected?
we
We've
worked
worked too
hard.
hard. Yeah, we've worked too hard for me to believe, well, this is Dreamland or Fantasyland. We've worked every day, days off, I write songs. We're just always working towards it.
Okay, next time you're back, I'm sure between now and your next visit that you will have compiled a few videos. That's that's essential to the well-being of any group, the Gypsy Queen included, of course. And bring that back, and we'll put that on. And maybe some night we can get you down here full force with all the members of the group and just turn you loose on one of our spotlight segments. Nice to see both of you again.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Paula, Mattiioli. And again, if you've not seen them perform with Gypsy Queen in South Florida, they're terrific. That's the best way to say it. And pick up Playboy and do with that what you will too. They will be in the Fort Lauderdale area through the holidays if you'd like to catch their act, as they say. Thank you both. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Dan.
Stay tuned. More in a moment. We have a fashion display next with Meredith Port, and then I'll be back for the second half of the show.